Hi everyone, and let's see how we can do this a little bit better for chapter 4, which is using the subtotals and the pivot table. All right, the capstone exercise asks you to sort subtotal and outline data. This is the first set of rules, first exercise that you learned when you did the hands-on exercises. Please go back and reread. I'm using the e-text. You could use the e-text or the hard copy, but you really don't have a hard copy, so it's got to be the e-text. Subtotals and outlines. Here's the entire section of subtotals and outlines. Go through each step. The steps are clearly delineated. There's even an explanation. I can't do anything better than what's here or explain anything better than what's here in your textbook. In addition to that, you have to go back to what you had already done with the hands-on exercises. All of you did the hands-on exercises with no problems, okay? So most of you got A's. So if you got A's on the subtotals and outlines for hands-on exercises, you have to transfer that knowledge of what you had done in the hands-on exercises to the capstone exercise. And the capstone exercise asks you to click subtotal sheet tab, tell you what to use, and the range. I know that this is difficult. All of you have other responsibilities. No one is disputing that. But this is a more advanced level than chapter 1. And chapter 6 is the last chapter, so you know that the chapters are getting a little more sophisticated. This is now asking you to take a look at data and make this data understandable. I understand that Access is a whole lot easier than Excel because Access is a database. I told you that in the video. So the 4 chapters of Access is going to be easier. But look at this exercise in Excel as a challenge for you in terms of taking everything that you've learned. And you've learned a great deal, folks. All of you have learned a great deal. No one in this class has not learned something. All right. But I can't go any further or any deeper than what's here in the capstone exercise, and particularly in the hands-on exercises that you've done. Then the next section is the pivot table, okay? And in the pivot table, that's what they're asking you to do next. Create a pivot table, okay? They even ask change fields and do all of those things that you already learned in a pivot table. If there's any question about this, go to the videos that I put in the student resources. Go to YouTube. I gave you YouTube videos. Please go over these. This is not a walk in the park. You have to take time to analyze this and work on it. And I know that you're doing this, but you need to focus on this and go through the steps. All of you can do this, and you can do a lot better than what you had done. If a few of you got perfect scores, then almost everyone should be able to get a perfect score. I'm asking you, just take a look at it section by section instead of taking a look at the whole thing and say, oh, I can't do it. Just do the first section. What's good about the hands-on simulations is that they give you section by section. So they don't give you the whole thing all at once and then you get confused. But in reality, as you well know, those of you who work with Excel, basic or advanced or intermediate, or any project, they give you, your supervisor gives you a project and tells you, this is what I want. In the meantime, you create the steps, or you ask the supervisor, what specific steps do I need to create this if you're not sure of a project? So just take a look at sort, subtotal, and outline data. A good number of you were able to do the subtotal with no problem, but some of you still had trouble with subtotal. All right? Take a look at the pivot table. There's an explanation in the chapter as to what a pivot table is. Okay, let's go into pivot table basics. All right, I gave you a video explaining what, a YouTube video explaining what a pivot table is. Okay, you also have the student resources, the videos, the PowerPoints, as well as the videos on creating a pivot table. Go over it several times. There isn't anything more that I can do for you other than you're having to do this. The other thing I would recommend too, folks, I put you in teams for a reason, not just to do the team exercise, but work with each other. You can work together. You're all working virtually, or some of you are in different countries, different states. You can do this. Read through the material, questions. If you don't want to work in teams, you want to work with me, what's your question? People tell me I don't understand. It's like going to the doctor and saying I'm sick or I'm in pain. That's not telling the doctor anything that he or she can help you with. Specifically, what is your problem? Specifically, what is the question that you have? I can't answer things that's nebulous. No more than your team leaders or team people can say, okay, well, you said you don't understand. What is it that you don't understand? So take section by section. You can do this because it's wrapped up. What's good about Pearson is that they do this in sections. Some of the other textbooks just tell you create a pivot table. That's it, and nothing more. So they go through the section, and in the last section that they have, okay, or next to the last section, filter the pivot table and apply a style. Insert a slicer and timeline. All of these just go section by section, making sure that you know this. And again, I know that you're working. I know you have family obligations. And I know I've given you a week. If you need more time, just let me know. But throwing up your hands and saying, I can't do this and I'm not going to do it, that's your choice. But you can all do this. And that's the whole point of taking the class. If you only know the basics of Excel, then why would you go through all of this? You want to learn more. All right. And my explaining to you is not going to be any different than the explanation in the textbook or in the videos, unless there's something else that you want me to do. You have to be more specific. All right. So I'm suggesting to you that you take this section by section, not the whole thing, because that would scare anybody. Okay, create a pivot chart, which is different from a pivot table, and of course, finalizing your workbook. All right, but section by section, all of the instructions are there. Everything that you need to create the assignment with a score of 20 points is there. In the videos I gave you, in the videos that I posted in the or not posted, but made available in the My IT Lab. The PowerPoints, the audio PowerPoints, in case you might be an oral, A-U-R-A-L learner, you might want to hear the voice. All of it is there. And again, I know you're going to say to me, she doesn't understand. I totally understand the fact that everybody has other commitments. That's what makes CUNY unique, that all of you are able to learn with the time frame that you have. But if there's something else that I can do, I'm just asking you to go through step by step in each section. If you have trouble with a section, if you completely don't understand where to go, what to do, that's when you should ask me or ask your teammates. But work with your teammates. That's the whole idea of working in teams. And not just for me. You say to yourself, if I work with teams, my teammates, they don't know anything more than I do. Then gather the questions that you have. And somebody, your team manager for the week, send me what the questions are. What specifically are the questions? Telling me you don't understand is not helping me to help you. All right? So the point of this video is certainly not to sit down there and tell you, you could learn this. I know you learned this. But go section by section. You had no problems with PowerPoint. You had no problems with the first 3 or 4 chapters of Excel, except, of course, the formulas, which I gave you the order of operation so that you could understand how to use these formulas. This is not the same. This is not looking at data and how to make it easy for another person to read. That's the whole idea of pivot tables and subtotals. Okay? So, again, I go back to use section, sort, subtotal, create a pivot table, step by step. If there's a step there that you don't understand, go back to the hands-on exercise. Okay? Use the resources that are there, including me, with the specific questions that you have. Okay, folks. Thanks a lot.